Hi, welcome back to Guessagaingaming. So here I am back in the Ascent, and I think I've played this game enough now. This is my original playthrough where I've got quite far into the game. With the other playthroughs I've started, I haven't got past the first boss because I've got killed because it's very hard to do with a ranged weapon. And if you want to know about that, watch the last video I made about this game. But I think I've played it enough now to kind of have some thoughts of the game overall. And I'm going to go into, it won't take that long, but firstly I think the problem, which I've already gone into in a previous video and just alluded to, is it's very difficult to start, especially because the first boss you come to, actually the first enemies you fight, would be 1000% easier to kill with a ranged with a melee weapon than a ranged weapon. So the fact you don't have one, and even in most games, the first thing you'll get is an old wrench or a bat, or even if you use your fists. But in this, you don't get that. So the fact that you have to kill these little bugs, gremlin things, many of them, sometimes they overwhelm you, sometimes like 5, 10 at a time, and get killed a lot because you try to shoot them, and they're literally, once they get next to you, it's very hard to shoot them and they won't go away. So, and it's hard to run away because even if you can run away, and at a certain point they'll give up. By that time they've probably killed you. So I think that's a problem. Like I said, I played a lot of games, so I'm not saying nobody would find this easy to do with a ranged weapon, but as someone who's a general game player and quite used to this kind of game, I don't find that very good, because had I played first time through, and this is my first playthrough, and not got the baseball bat, I would probably have given up by now. So that's that. Secondly, this game crashes an awful lot. It crashes more than any other game I've ever played on PlayStation. It's impossible to go through any playthrough without a crash. It crashes more than XCOM 2. It crashes more than War of the Trojan, which often crashes. So this is the worst game for crashing I've ever had on PlayStation. I can't say that it's the same for everybody, but it crashes on mine all the time. So that's annoying. It's not the end of the world, but it is a bit annoying because it can crash right in the middle of a fight where you've killed almost all the enemies, and then it'll crash and you've got to start that again. So that's annoying. I'm not going to run forward because I know there's a big enemy to kill somewhere ahead. Actually, maybe I'll run back. Wherever I run, I'm going to get killed somewhere anyway. Yeah, what else? Okay, other things. The story isn't super exciting. It's alright, it's that kind of, there's some bad stuff going on, and we need to sort out why these things are happening, but there's nothing original or amazing about it. It's the sort of same plot of many other games, not cyberpunk games necessarily, but many other kind of games, just tailored to the sort of game it is, and many movies. It's nothing amazing. You wouldn't play this for the story, and it could do with a bit more interaction with the content. You have some nice cutscenes with the main story, but like I said, the main story is not amazing. And the side quests that I've come across are, again, there's some nice cutscenes, but they're like cutscenes from most and side quests for most games. Just go there, get that, do this, and come back. There's not much so far, and I've played this quite a bit now, interaction that's like more than just quest interaction, if that makes sense. So you have interactions when you're going to someone to do the main quest, and there's a bit of interaction there. That's all pretty good. You have interaction when you're doing the side quest, but just when you're going to go and get them. But there's not much other interaction with anyone else, and you can talk to NPCs and that, but they'll just say random stuff. So it could do with a bit more engagement in the world. It could do with other characters that maybe would even come with you. I think that would help this game a lot, if there was other characters on occasion that would come with you, because you'd have someone else to be in your gang, if it were. But not just because of that, I think it would help with the fact that it feels like you're not just running around this place on your own all the time. For example, the Cyberpunk game, the RPG game, in that you are running around on your own a lot, but you have other characters that come with you sometimes, and lots of the side quests and things you do, these really interesting characters that branch out into other things. And if that had more of either of those systems, I think it would be a better game for it. So in this game, the shooting is fun, but again, one of the things that relies on a lot is to level up, you're kind of expected to die a lot, because that's how you level up, by dying, and then you come back and you level up. I'm sure that's how they set the first level with those gremlin things, because they want you to die quite a lot, which is kind of fair enough early on, although it would be fair enough if you didn't get to the boss and it was very, very difficult without a melee weapon. But okay, you get through the first tutorial level and you die a lot and you've got to level 3, 4, that would be okay, but it happens a lot, and it's a game where you do kind of get a little bit bored of dying, because you will die a lot, and so it's fun, the combat, but you do die a lot, and you seem to be dying a lot just for the fact it kind of levels you up, and that's what the game does. So again, it's not a bad thing, but I would prefer to play a game that I think is a very good comparison to this, which is Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr, where you only die, you level up anyway, you level up by killing enemies a lot, but you only die really if you take on enemies that are much too strong or you're a bit careless. And I think that's a much better system. I think a system where you die a bit too often can become a bit repetitive, and like I said, with all the other things in this game that are a little bit, it's another thing that kind of puts you off. So the thing that is going to make people want to play this, which made me want to play, and which is the thing I like the most, is the setting. The game looks lovely. It's a fantastic looking game. It looks great. The world looks great. The characters look great. All the little things that are going on everywhere looks great. All the interactions with the NPCs look great. It's a really good looking game. Someone's going to shoot me from over there, so I'll just run away because I don't want to get into a combat while I'm making the video. But yeah, it looks great. It's a great looking game. And that guy's going to come all the way down here to shoot me. What a... Now I'll show you how the bat's very useful, because when you get these guys and you haven't got time to kind of... This guy's funny. You can kill things with a bat much easier than with a ranged weapon, and I think that's a shame as well. I think I mentioned that in the previous video. You just saw it there. You can kill things with a bat often easier than with any of the ranged weapons, however good they are. And there's some really nice and interesting looking ranged weapons, and I think it would benefit the game if some of the ranged weapons were, well, better. They look good and the damage looks good, but they're not better, because when you're being swarmed by enemies, even if you've got a very good machine gun, whatever you've got, a rocket launcher, because there's so many coming from many angles, they don't work out as good as a good old-fashioned baseball bat, at least for me, and I think that's a shame. It would be better if you had guns that one-shotted enemies a little bit, gun maybe a bit. It's just not good, not well balanced, considering you only actually get apparently one melee weapon in this without the DLC, which is a baseball bat, and often that is your go-to to survive. So yeah, the game looks great, is what I was saying. It looks really good, the enemies are good, the combat's fun. So they're the reason you'd come back to it. The game looks great, the combat is fun, even though it is repetitive, and even if you do get killed a lot. The weapons look good, even though the baseball bat is often the one you'll need. I would recommend, unless you're very, very good, very good at shooting in this game, you can take two, so you always take a melee. You can swap them around, so you always take a melee weapon or the baseball bat and a ranged weapon, because two ranged weapons, they end up playing kind of the same. Once you're surrounded by enemies, and you saw some of them will run at you, some of them will run away. You'll have ones with guns and ones with bombs and ones with melee stuff. Once you get a lot of enemies, two ranged weapons, whichever they might be, won't really benefit you, is how I've found it anyway. Which is unusual, because in most games, whether it's this kind of game or whether it's a game like Cyberpunk or whatever it might be, any game, doesn't have to be a sci-fi game, if it's Dragon Age, doesn't matter, The Witcher, often two similar weapons will be good if they're just slightly different, but in this, So yeah, it's a game I like, it's a game that I wanted to like more. I do enjoy it, but it's just like, it's just not quite there because of the things I've mentioned. It's a game, again, unlike, and I use the obvious example again, Warhammer Inquisitor March, which I played lots on this channel, which it's hard to really enjoy because you know it's going to crash, which is a big problem. You know if you're going to combat, you're almost certainly going to get killed somewhere, and you know that you're going to run around hitting everything with a baseball bat at a certain point. That's not all that's wrong with it. Like I said, it's a story part which isn't that interesting sometimes, and you don't meet many interesting people. In fact, I'd say in Inquisitor March, which I played tons, the characters you meet on your own ship that you find, or the characters you find, are actually somewhat more interesting than this game, which is a surprise. But anyway, yeah, so it's a game I would say, get it in a sale. It's an interesting game if you like this kind of shooting game, if you like the environment, if you like cyberpunk, any of those things, it's worth playing, but with the things I've mentioned against it. And I would say that they're all equally like, the story's not, the crashing of the game is, the fact that the melee weapon is so important is a bit, the repetitive combat when you keep dying and coming back is a bit, all those things aside, it's still a fun game. I don't think this is a hugely long game, which is good, because if it was like a 50-hour game, I think it would be way too long for the fact that what it is. But it's okay, and like I said, I enjoy it. I would say play it, but with the things I've mentioned, obviously. So anyway, thanks for watching Guessagaingaming. Till next time, take care for now.